Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went in there? Or maybe you've misplaced your glasses, only to find them on top of your head 5 minutes later? If you're nodding right now, you're not alone, and trust me, it's not just a senior moment. These little lapses are common, especially as we get older. But here's the good news. Your brain is incredibly adaptable, even after 60. It's never too late to start giving it a little extra love. In fact, studies in neuroscience have shown something remarkable. Our brains can continue to form new neural connections well into our later years. This ability is called neuroplasticity, and it means we can literally train our brains to stay sharp, vibrant, and even grow stronger with the right kinds of activities. So today, we're diving into 5 simple but powerful habits that can help keep your mind active, alert, and full of life, whether you're 60 or 90. And before you think this is going to be one of those lectures filled with complicated medical terms and unrealistic advice, don't worry. This is about real-life, doable stuff. Things that fit into your routine. No massive overhauls, no strict regimens. Just genuine tips backed by science and real-world success. Now, before we keep going, I'd love your help with something. If you're enjoying this video so far, comment Y below. If not, comment N. It helps me know what's working and what to improve. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Now let's dive deeper. Alright, let's kick off with one of the most underrated but brain-boosting habits out there, lifelong learning. You know the saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, that's absolutely false, especially when it comes to the human brain. In fact, learning something new like a language, an instrument, or even how to use a new app on your phone can significantly boost memory, focus, and mental flexibility. There's a fascinating study out of the University of Texas at Dallas, where adults in their 60s and 70s spent 15 hours a week learning new skills like digital photography and quilting. After just 3 months, the participants showed significant improvements in memory compared to those who engaged in more passive activities like watching TV or doing word puzzles. The key here wasn't just staying busy, it was the challenge of mastering something unfamiliar. Take my neighbor, Eleanor. She picked up Spanish at 68 through a free app just to keep up with her grandkids who are bilingual. She told me the mental challenge not only gave her a sense of accomplishment, but it also made her feel more connected and confident in everyday life. So, what's something you've always been curious about? Maybe it's painting, or learning how to garden, or exploring your ancestry online. Whatever it is, diving into something new literally builds new pathways in the brain. It's like giving your mind a workout at the mental gym. And speaking of workouts, our next activity might surprise you. Because when it comes to brain health, your body plays a massive role too. Let's talk about movement. I'm not saying you have to sign up for CrossFit or run a marathon, unless you want to, of course. But regular, moderate physical activity is one of the most powerful ways to boost your cognitive health. Why? Because when you move, your body pumps more blood and oxygen to your brain. This nourishes your neurons, improves memory, and even reduces your risk of dementia. A large-scale study published in the journal Neurology found that seniors who engaged in regular physical activity, like walking briskly for just 30 minutes a day, had a significantly slower rate of cognitive decline than those who were sedentary. In fact, MRI scans revealed that physically active older adults had larger volumes in the hippocampus, the part of the brain that helps with memory. And it doesn't have to be boring either. One woman I know, Linda, started doing Tai Chi in the park after turning 70. She was skeptical at first, but within weeks, she noticed she was sleeping better, remembering more, and even felt less anxious. The slow, deliberate movements of Tai Chi are especially beneficial because they combine balance, focus, and coordination, like a triple win for the brain. Dancing is another one. Whether it's ballroom, Zumba, or even just dancing in the kitchen while you're making dinner, rhythmic movement stimulates multiple parts of your brain at once. Music, memory, motion, it all comes together in a beautiful way. So if you're thinking, I'm not really an exercise person, that's okay. Just start with something you enjoy. A walk with a friend, stretching while you watch your favorite show, gardening. The key is consistency and getting your body involved in the process. By now, you can probably see how these first 2 habits, learning and moving, are about keeping your mind engaged and energized. But we're just getting started. Because in the next part, we're going to talk about something that often gets overlooked, but might just be the most important piece of the puzzle: connection. Social interaction isn't just good for the soul, it's vital for brain health. And I'll share some incredible research and real-life stories that will show you why having strong relationships could be one of the best things you can do for your mind after 60. Stick with me, we're just getting into the good stuff. Before we begin, I want to make one thing clear. This video is for informational purposes only and is based on publicly available research. Everyone's health is different, so always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, or exercise routine. Scientific knowledge is always evolving, and what works for one person may not work for another. Alright, now let's get back into it. So far, we've talked about the brain-boosting benefits of learning something new and keeping your body moving. But here's something most people don't expect when they're thinking about how to stay mentally sharp: connection with people, with community, with meaning. It turns out, spending time with others is one of the most powerful ways to protect your brain. There's a long-term study from Harvard. Actually, it's one of the longest studies on human happiness and health ever conducted, that followed participants for over 80 years. One of the most striking findings? The people who stayed the sharpest and healthiest into old age weren't necessarily the wealthiest or the most physically fit. They were the most socially connected. They had strong relationships, close friendships, and a sense of community. That kind of connection acts like a buffer against stress, depression, and cognitive decline. And honestly, that makes sense, doesn't it? When we have meaningful conversations, when we laugh, share stories, or just sit with someone and feel heard, it activates the brain in ways that are deep and sustaining. I know a man named George, he's 74 now, who joined a local community book club after his wife passed away. At first, it was just a way to get out of the house. But over time, that weekly gathering became the highlight of his week. He started engaging more, asking questions, even recommending books. His daughter told me he seemed brighter somehow, more present, more joyful. That's the power of feeling connected. And if you're thinking, but I don't have a big social circle, that's okay. You don't need dozens of friends. Just a few meaningful relationships make all the difference. Reaching out to a neighbor, joining a class, volunteering once a week, it all counts. Even a quick phone call with an old friend can brighten your mind in surprising ways. Now, while we're on the topic of feeling connected and grounded, there's another habit that can make a huge difference for your brain: mindfulness. And before you tune out thinking this is about sitting cross-legged in silence for hours, don't worry. Mindfulness can be incredibly simple, and it's backed by some very solid science. At its core, mindfulness just means being fully present in the moment. It's about noticing your thoughts, your breath, the sensations in your body, without judgment. Sounds simple, right? But the impact on brain health is anything but small. Studies have shown that people who practice mindfulness meditation, even for just 10 to 15 minutes a day, can experience increased gray matter in areas of the brain related to memory, emotional regulation, and learning. The University of California, Los Angeles found that older adults who meditated regularly had brains that appeared younger. In fact, up to 7.5 years younger than those who didn't. You don't have to be a monk or spiritual guru to do this. You could try something called walking meditation. Just taking a slow walk and focusing only on the feel of your feet on the ground, the air on your skin, the sounds around you. Or even just taking 5 deep breaths in the morning and noticing the sensation of your chest rising and falling. I met a woman named Rita who began a simple gratitude practice at 66. Every morning, she'd sit with her coffee and think of 3 things she was grateful for. That's it. She said it helped her feel calmer, less foggy-headed, and more focused throughout the day. When we reduce stress through mindfulness, we protect the brain from the harmful effects of cortisol, the stress hormone that's linked to memory loss and slower thinking. And here's the thing, when you combine mindfulness with learning, movement, and social interaction, it's like giving your brain a full-spectrum support system. But there's still one more piece of this puzzle I want to introduce before we wrap this part: sleep. Now, I know sleep gets trickier as we get older. Some people have trouble falling asleep, others wake up too early, and naps can mess with your nighttime rest. But getting high-quality sleep is absolutely critical for brain health. Think of sleep like the housekeeping system of your brain. While you're asleep, Your brain clears out waste products that build up during the day, including beta amyloid, the sticky protein associated with Alzheimer's disease. It also consolidates memories, meaning it stores the important stuff and lets go of the rest. The National Institutes of Health has shown that even one night of poor sleep can reduce your ability to focus, retain information, and make decisions. Chronic sleep deprivation over time? That can seriously increase your risk for cognitive decline. So how do we improve sleep after 60? It often comes down to routine. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day. Limiting caffeine and alcohol in the evening. Avoiding screens an hour before bed. Yep, even your phone. And creating a wind-down ritual. A warm bath, soft music, maybe a little reading or journaling. And if you're lying awake with thoughts swirling, try what one viewer shared with me. She keeps a worry notebook by her bed. When something's on her mind, she jots it down, closes the notebook, and tells herself, "I'll deal with this tomorrow." Simple, but surprisingly effective. So we've now covered 4 powerful tools for boosting brain health after 60: lifelong learning, physical activity, social connection, and mindfulness. And we're already seeing how they connect and support one another. But we're not quite done yet. In the next section, we'll explore the 5th and final brain-boosting habit, and it might just be the most fun and most flavorful of them all. That's right, we're going to talk about nutrition. What you eat plays a massive role in how your brain functions, and there are some specific foods and nutrients that scientists are especially excited about when it comes to memory and mental clarity. We'll also look at some of the mindset challenges that come with aging, like self-doubt, isolation, or feeling like it's too late. Because the truth is, it's never too late to grow stronger, mentally and emotionally. Stick around, we've got some tasty science and heartfelt encouragement coming your way. So here we are, 4 powerful habits in, and I hope you're already starting to see how doable this journey to a sharper brain after 60 can be. But we've still got one more essential piece of the puzzle, and if you're someone who loves good food, this one's going to be your favorite. Let's talk about nutrition, what we eat, how it affects our brain, and how a few small changes can make a really big difference. Now, I'm not going to tell you to throw out all your favorite snacks or adopt some extreme diet. That's not what this is about. It's about adding in brain-friendly foods that fuel memory, focus, and long-term brain health, while still enjoying what you eat. There's a growing body of research around what's known as the MIND diet, a combination of the Mediterranean and DASH diets, that specifically focuses on protecting brain function as we age. Studies from institutions like Rush University Medical Center have found that following the MIND diet can reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease by up to 53% in those who follow it closely, and by about 35% even if you're only following it moderately. So what's on the plate? Lots of leafy greens like spinach and kale. They're rich in folate, vitamin K, and antioxidants that reduce inflammation in the brain. Berries, especially blueberries, are another superstar. They're packed with flavonoids that have been shown to improve memory. Fatty fish like salmon and sardines provide omega-3 fatty acids, which help maintain brain cell structure and communication. Whole grains, nuts, olive oil, beans, and yes, even the occasional glass of red wine have all been linked to better cognitive function. I remember chatting with a retired teacher named Paul, who was feeling mentally sluggish and foggy in his early 60s. His doctor suggested cutting back on processed foods and sugar and adding in more brain-friendly options. He started small, oatmeal with blueberries in the morning, a handful of walnuts in the afternoon, grilled fish once or twice a week. Within a couple of months, he felt clearer, more energetic, and even noticed his word recall improving. Here's the real magic. Eating well isn't just about avoiding decline. It's about actively fueling your brain to thrive. Every healthy bite is like sending a message to your brain that says, "I've got you. Let's do this." But we also have to talk about something else that isn't always easy to admit. Even when we know what's good for us, and even when we want to stay sharp, it can still be hard to stay motivated. Especially if you're dealing with things like loneliness, self-doubt, or just feeling like the best years are behind me. Let me tell you right now, they're not. I've met so many inspiring people who picked up new passions, found deeper friendships, or totally transformed their outlook after 60. But almost every one of them faced that voice of resistance first. The voice that says, "It's too late. or I'm too tired, or I'm just not that kind of person. Here's the truth. That voice isn't you, it's fear. And it shows up for everyone when we're about to grow. I spoke with a woman named Teresa. She was 67, recently retired, and feeling like her life lacked direction. She told me, "I feel invisible." That broke my heart, but I knew she wasn't alone. So we talked about what used to bring her joy. Turns out, she used to love writing stories. So she joined a local writing group. And something amazing happened. She found her voice again, not just in the stories, but in herself. She said, "I thought I was too old to matter, but I realized I still have so much to say." And you do too. Staying mentally sharp isn't just about protecting the brain from decline. It's about engaging with life, finding meaning, staying curious, believing that you still have chapters left to write. But let's also be real. Some days will be harder than others. You might skip the walk. Forget the name of someone you just met. Reach for the cookie instead of the walnuts. That's okay. What matters most is that you don't give up. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about choosing to keep going, even when it's messy. So what can you do when motivation dips? One trick is to stack habits. Pair something good for your brain with something you already enjoy, like doing light stretches while listening to your favorite podcast, calling a friend while taking a walk, reading something new while sipping your morning coffee, and celebrate the little wins. Made a healthy lunch? That counts. Remembered someone's birthday? That's a brain victory. Learned one new word in another language? You're building new neural pathways. Another strategy? Get support. Share your goals with someone. Join a walking group or an online forum. Accountability and encouragement go a long way, especially when we're navigating change. You are absolutely capable of staying sharp, strong, and full of life at any age. But sometimes we just need to be reminded that we're not alone. That this journey, with all its ups and downs, is worth it. And that the smallest steps often lead to the biggest transformations. Now, in our final section, we're going to pull all of this together. We'll recap the 5 brain-boosting habits, and I'll share a few simple ways to start making changes right now, even today. Plus, I'll leave you with a final dose of science-backed inspiration that I think you'll love. So stick with me. The best part is still to come. If you've made it this far, first, thank you. That alone tells me something important. You care about your future. You care about staying mentally sharp, emotionally strong, and fully alive, not just for yourself, but for the people you love and the experiences you still want to have. Let's take a deep breath and look back at everything we've uncovered together. We started with learning, keeping the brain engaged through curiosity and new experiences. Whether it's picking up an instrument, trying a new recipe, or simply reading something outside your usual interests, challenging your brain keeps those neural pathways strong and flexible. Then we moved into physical activity. Not running marathons or lifting heavy weights, but staying consistently active. Walking, dancing, gardening. Movement not only keeps the body fit, but also pumps more oxygen to your brain, supporting everything from focus to mood to memory. Next, we talked about connection, the deep human need to feel seen, heard, and valued. Whether it's friends, family, neighbors, or even online communities, social interaction strengthens the brain and soothes the soul. We're not meant to do life alone. And from there, we explored mindfulness, that ability to be present, to breathe, to pause. A few quiet moments each day can literally reshape your brain and protect it from stress-related damage. As one study from Harvard put it, mindfulness can change the structure of the brain in just 8 weeks. That's not magic, that's science. And finally, we talked about nutrition. Real food, colorful food, nourishing food. The kind that doesn't just fill you up, but actually fuels your brain to stay alert, clear, and healthy. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. Now, here's the thing I want to leave you with. These 5 habits, learning, moving, connecting, being mindful, and eating well, aren't about avoiding old age. They're about embracing it, about saying, I still have so much life to live, and I'm going to live it well. I think we all, deep down, want to believe that our best days aren't behind us. That the spark inside us, the part that's curious, creative, joyful, that part doesn't have to fade. It can actually grow stronger with time if we care for it. I once met a couple in their late 70s who decided to start taking ballroom dance lessons. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to try something new together. They were nervous at first, out of sync, laughing through their missteps. But they kept showing up. A year later, they were performing at local events. They told me they felt more alive than they had in decades, not because they were perfect dancers, but because they chose growth over routine. And that's what I hope you take from all this. You don't have to do everything at once. Just start somewhere. Try a new brain game this week. Go for a walk tomorrow morning. Call someone you haven't talked to in a while. Add one new vegetable to your grocery list. Meditate for 2 minutes before bed. It doesn't have to be big to be meaningful. Your brain is not a fixed machine. It's alive, adaptable, and incredibly responsive to change. Even small changes. Here's one last piece of science I want to share before we close. A study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that older adults who made lifestyle improvements, just modest ones, showed measurable improvement in cognitive performance in as little as 6 weeks. 6 weeks. That's less time than it takes to finish a season of your favorite show. That's the kind of hope I want to leave you with. Because it's real. You can get sharper. You can feel better. You can wake up with energy and go to bed with peace. So here's your invitation. Don't wait for a perfect plan or the right time. Take one step today, just one, and then another tomorrow. And remember, your brain, your body, and your life are still full of possibility. It's never too late to grow, to heal, or to start something new. We'd really love to hear from you. If you have any suggestions for future topics or questions you want answered, write to us in the comments below. We're here to help, and your input could inspire our next video. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on more practical tips for healthy aging. Here's to living your best life at any age.